From kids on the playground playing pretend, to artists looking for inspiration on their new medium, to just people like you and I who like to fantasize about just everyday things. There have been countless people that have thought to themselves, what if X aspect of X series were real? What if I could yell so loud that my hair would turn a different color? What if I made food so delicious that people acted in a interesting way?
Hey yo, what the fuck?
What if Pokemon were real? It's a question I'm sure many of you have asked yourself at least one point in time while on your Pokemon journey. And today I'd like to take a look at what my team would be if Pokemon were real. Specifically, what my real life team would be versus my dream team. Now, what do I mean by these? Well, my dream team is going to be a Pokemon team that I would have if, battling was a thing. If I wanted to build a champion-like team that was going to always be there and just always have my back. My champion team, my literal champion Ronin team. Whenever constructing Pokemon teams, I like to try to keep things really balanced. I was always the type of player that had a full team of 6. I had a lot of Pokemon that covered each other's weaknesses, and I didn't rely solely on my starter Pokemon. More often than not, my starter Pokemon is the strongest Pokemon in my party, but I was never fully reliant on just one Pokemon because that seemed really stupid. So, if that is the case, what would my dream team be? Like I said a second ago, I like to keep my team balanced. So, these are the types that I like to have when making a final team for each of my games. I like to have Grass, Fire, and Water. This is the known starter core. Obviously, each of these Pokemon are good against each other and weak against each other, and they cover each other's weaknesses very, very well, especially if you have good secondary typings. Next is a trio much like the Grass, Fire, Water core, where they cover each other's weaknesses and help each other out in areas where they're a little bit weak. And that is Dragon, Steel, and Fairy. Dragon is weak against Fairy, Fairy's weak against Steel, and while Steel's not weak against Dragon, it does resist Dragon, so one way is good, the other way is kind of not perfect, but you get the idea. So, now that we know our typings, what's the team? Well, I think it's kind of a no-brainer that my Grass-type Pokemon is obviously going to be Venusaur. Bulbasaur is my favorite Pokemon of all time. Venusaur is my favorite fully evolved starter Pokemon of all time. It's super versatile. I know that with the Grass Poison weakness, with the Grass Poison typing, it has a lot of weaknesses, so a lot of people look down on it because of that. But Sleep Powder Swords Dance knockoff Seed Bomb, pretty good sleeper set, especially in Chlorophyll. If you have a Pokemon set up the sun, physical Venusaur is good. Obviously, Venusaur is nice and bulky, so it adds a lot of versatility to the team with Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, good physical moves, good special moves. It's all around just a good Pokemon. Following up Venusaur is going to be our Fire-type Pokemon, and for this, I've actually chosen another starter Pokemon. Once upon a time, it was Infernape. Infernape, for the longest time, has been my favorite Fire starter Pokemon, but with the introduction of Scarlet and Violet, Skeledirge has taken the #1 spot of my favorite Fire starter, and it's just for a few reasons. One, Fire Ghost is such a cool typing, such a super unique typing, very few Pokemon have it. 2, I really like reptiles. Venusaur is supposed to be a toad, Skeledirge is supposed to be a lizard. I'm super into reptiles and amphibians, anything scaly like that, I love it. So, a Fire Ghost Lizard, definitely peak design for me personally. And the fact that it sings makes it that much better. Skeledirge is even so good in some instances that it's been able to climb all the way up to the Uber rank in online competitive play. And that's really crazy because very few starter Pokemon have been able to get it up to the Uber quality. Rounding out our Grass, Fire, Water trio is going to be our Water Pokemon that is not a starter, but probably could be a bit too strong. It's Palafin. Now, obviously, Palafin is here because two things. One, look at him. He's super cute. He's a lovable little guy. But also, he hits like a truck. Palafin's design and ability is super unique, super cool. I don't know if they'll ever have anything exactly like it again. And I kind of hope they don't. I kind of hope that Palafin gets to keep this unique quality about it to where once it comes back in after switching out one time, it's this super beefed up version that you weren't ready for, you know? So Palafin's definitely going to be the water Pokemon that's rounding out the trio for our Grass, Fire, Water core. Now moving on to our Dragon Steel Fairy core. For Fairy type, I'm going to have to go with Gardevoir. And I know what you may be thinking, and it's not that. Have any of you played Pokemon Sapphire by chance? For those of you that haven't played Pokemon Sapphire, or even Gen 3 for that matter, let me run you down real quick. Imagine opening Pokemon Sapphire for the first time on Christmas morning. You're 8 years old, super excited to play this brand new Pokemon game that you didn't even know existed. You get to Petalburg City, and you help this kind of annoying kid catch his Pokemon, and he just so happens to run into the rarest Pokemon on the route. He runs into a Ralts, and you're like, oh, that's a cool looking Pokemon. I'd like to have that on my team. So you know what you do? You go to that grass patch and you search for a Ralts. And it takes you over an hour and a half, because Ralts in Pokemon Sapphire has a 1% encounter rate. So you spend over an hour and a half searching for this Ralts, and you find it. And you know what happens when you find it? You crit it, and you knock it out. So then you spend another 45 minutes looking again, until you finally get it. Ralts, Kirlia was super underwhelming. Once I was using Gardevoir consistently on my Pokemon Sapphire playthrough, it wrecked shop. Just stab, psychic, hurt so many things. Obviously there were things like Mightyena and other psychic types that were kind of in the way, but if it wasn't a dark type, if it wasn't a psychic type or a steel type, Gardevoir just kind of put in the work. Between Psychic and Thunderbolt, I didn't really need another Pokemon aside from my starter. Picking my Dragon Pokemon was actually kind of hard. I have a lot of Dragon Pokemon that I really, really like. 3 or 4 that I would actually consider in my top 20 favorite Pokemon of all time. But when it finally came down to it, I had to go with Dragapult. It's too cool of a design. It's super sleek. The shiny's super nice. The typing is super hard. How fast the Pokemon is. This Pokemon is insanely fast. If you've played Pokemon, you know that speed control can often determine the pace of a battle. You're not outspeeding that thing 99% of the time. You're not ready for it. That's Lightning McQueen. And the last Pokemon that I would have on my team, my Steel type, Corviknight. Corviknight easily became my favorite Steel type as soon as it was introduced in Sword and Shield. Still Flying is obviously an amazing typing. Skarmory itself is awesome, but once Corviknight came out, Skarmory kind of just fell to the wayside. It's still a good Pokemon, don't get me wrong, but Corviknight is just that much better. That much cooler looking, its shiny is awesome, and it, like Gardevoir, put in so much work for the region that I caught it in that it immediately went into my mind as one of my top 10 Pokemon of all time. So, now that we know what the dream team is, what would the most conventional looking team for me look like? What Pokemon would I have in my day-to-day life to help me in my day-to-day life? Well, first off, just like last time, we're going to be going ahead and picking up our starter Pokemon. It is that baby boy. You know who it is. It's that boy. Bulbasaur would be like my emotional support animal. People get a dog, a cat, a snake, a bird. I got the boy. You know what I'm saying? So he would be like an emotional support dog animal. He'd be treated the best. Would always get to jump up in the bed and sleep in the bed. I just need something to constantly hug onto, you know what I mean? Moving around in day-to-day life is kind of a pain in the ass for the most part. I mean, having to drive to work and back every day is already enough. That can take up to or even over an hour, hour and a half of your day every single day. Going to the grocery store, the doctor, literally just moving in general takes a lot of time. And then not to mention, if you want to take a vacation, let's say in a completely different country, sometimes you're spending a whole day just traveling to get there. So I think it would be advantageous to be able to move anywhere instantly. So the next Pokemon that I'd be picking is obviously going to be Alakazam. Alakazam is kind of a cheat code in a way because the Pokemon itself has literally over 5,000. Is it 5,000 or over 5,000? Either way, it's got like 5,000 IQ. And it could teach you so many things. It could teach you literally anything that you want to know. But the main application that we're using this for is teleport. My Alakazam is gonna know teleport. If I need to get literally anywhere that's not within like a 500-foot vicinity that I don't have to walk to, we're teleporting, baby. And not only that, like I said before, we're taking out all of those car trips. So we're taking out a bunch of carbon emissions. We're making the world a healthier place. You know what I'm saying? Plus, now I don't have to worry about the daily cost of vehicle. No more gas, no more tires, no more oil changes. No more having to worry about getting into a car crash, car insurance. Car insurance goes out the window, baby. Teleport, that's where it's at. One of the most important aspects of my life personally is got to be food. Food. I love food so much. And because I love food so much, I think I would absolutely want a Pokemon that could help me in the kitchen. Pokemon that can prepare a meal for me if I'm not feeling well, or can just be my sous chef whenever I'm wanting to try something out. And I really think, after doing a good amount of digging and research for this, there's no better Pokemon than Magnezone. Now I know that may seem kind of a weird choice, but hear me out. The reasoning given for this is not my original reasoning. I found this post on Reddit where this user, whose name is deleted, laid out some very good points as to why Magneton, Magnemite, and I'm choosing Magnezone because it's the most fully evolved version, would be an insane cook in the kitchen. So obviously, Magnezone is going to be magnetic, which means that with the use of electromagnetism, it's able to control any pots, pans, cooking utensils, appliances that are in the kitchen, so that's obviously already a leg up. You can have control over multiple different things at one time without having to worry about moving around too much. On top of that, because of its magnets, it can actually heat things up using thermal induction. So we have our own portable stove, essentially. We have our own portable kitchen, if we really think about it. On top of that, with moves like Lock On, Magnezone would be able to detect if anything is wrong within the kitchen, heat's going up too high, timer's been on too long, whatever the case, Magnezone would be able to lock onto it and tell you what's wrong. And if we're able to use things like Hidden Power Ice would also allow Magnezone to cool things down just as well as it can heat things up. We have a Pokemon that is basically an entire moving kitchen right by your side at all times. I'm sure many of you are aware right now, but it's getting kind of expensive to live. Rent is going up literally everywhere. And with that, there are more and more people that are trying to buy their own plot of land, buy their own little portable home, put it on that plot of land, and not have to worry about it anymore. And that's kind of what I want too. So I think having something that would be able to create constructs anywhere I go would be pretty useful. And for that, we're going to be taking Rhyperior. Now, there are a lot of ground Pokemon, rock Pokemon that I could have chosen from, and like I said before, I'm not going to choose any legendaries, obviously, but I think Rhyperior would probably do a really good job at actually being able to construct physical buildings out of the earth itself. I mean, hell, the Protector itself, granted, it's supposed to be that band that's around its stomach, but the item, the Protector, kind of looks like a house, like the outline of a house, you know what I mean? So I think Rhyperior would be able to create constructs, kind of like how Yamato does in Naruto, or how Toph does from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Being able to plot down a house anywhere I go, that'd be super keen. Plus, if I'm traveling, I think it'd be really cool to be able to just make buildings for people that don't have them. There's a big homeless population here in America, and being able to make buildings for those people without the say of the owners of apartments and houses would be awesome. I'd be able to help anybody that I want to help. I don't know about you, but I'm broke. I'm like broke. So I need something to get me that money. I need a partner in crime that's not a crime. But I need a partner in crime that's going to give me that money. You know what I'm saying? And I think the best option for that, I think the most obvious choice, Skuldango. I mean, the man is literally made out of money. His little itty bitty form stays inside of a chest and hoards money. So every single day we get up, guess what? Alright, Golden, go to work. Not necessarily work, but my man's hustling. He's gonna be out on the street, he's gonna be exploring, doing his own thing, and he's gonna be bringing back money every single day. And then obviously he gets a cut, extra Pokemon treats for him, but absolutely, I think Golden Go would be the perfect Pokemon to have by your side if you needed somebody to help you get a little extra cash. And honestly, right now, kind of needed some extra cash. Now, much like Alakazam, I would also have a flying type Pokemon for travel, but this would be for those instances where maybe I want to take in the scenery, or, if I have somebody with me, maybe I'd like to show them around as well. So having a flying type Pokemon would be pretty keen, and I think the best option, Noivern. And you maybe wonder to yourself, why Noivern? Noivern's not that big, and there are definitely faster flying Pokemon than Noivern. While that is true, Noivern's got 2 big Bose speakers on his head, so I feel like if I were to just take my phone and just put it on the back of his head, right here, right? That he would have like an automatic Bluetooth kind of connection happening. And I mean, his ears are speakers, man. We could be bumping music all throughout the sky as we're flying around. I think that'd be cool. Just his tail is an aux cord. You just hook it up to your phone. I think it'd be really fun to be able to play any kind of music that you want while you're flying about. So that's it. That is my dream team versus my more pragmatic team. What did you think? Do you think either of these teams do you think the dream team would actually be able to stand its own against champions like Cynthia or Leon? Do you think the pragmatic team is a good choice, or do you think there are better options? Tell me in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Please consider liking the video, hitting the subscribe button if you're not subscribed, and leaving a comment down in the comment section below telling me what you thought. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.